Hey everybody, Matt Shea here to talk to you about student information systems. If you watched the Board of Education meeting on October 27th, you probably saw an agenda item on there for switching to Genesis for our SIS. If that came as a surprise, I wanted to talk about it here, although we're many months away from realizing that switch, but just wanted to talk about it here so to kind of mentally prepare everyone for what the future looks like. When I came aboard 2 years ago, you guys had switched to real time from Genesis in 2015, I think. Um, in the 2 year, I had never used real time before. I've used a bunch of other student information systems, including Genesis. Um, and I had heard once upon a time people really enjoyed real time because it's all in one product. All of the tools you could ever need are there. Um, Real time sold to Harris Computer Educational Systems. I think that's full name. Harris Computers in 2021, and kind of it sounds like since then, when a company gets acquired, they may or may not stay the course. And the feedback I've gotten in the 2 years I've been here has not been super great about real time and Harris computers. A couple problems we had last year for anyone that was here last year is last year we had two major outages with them where real time was down all day. So we couldn't take attendance, didn't have emergency contact information for parents, just had zero access to real time for the entire day. After those back-to-back events, that was in January, March, I kind of demanded an audience with their upper management, had a call with their vice president and some of their engineers to talk about, listen, why did this happen? What are we doing? What are you guys doing for the future? Like, it's unacceptable to have this product down that's mission critical for us. It's got our medical information, emergency contact information. It's unacceptable to have this product down for hours and hours and not have it accessible during the school day. And they really had zero plans. We talked about having a redundant backup that we could fail over to, and they said, well, that's too expensive, and that's not on a roadmap. And I'm like, okay, but like if you don't have that in the plans, like it's a hard sell to stay with real time. So we had kind of started some conversations, last spring after those two major outages. Like, listen, real time is just if we stay with real time, they're going to have outages, and we just have to be happy with it as the customer. Besides some other logistical things, operational things that either aren't available in real time or don't always work in real time. Some of the other trouble is over those 2 years since I've been here, they've raised their rates 14%. So not only do we have to just deal with outages, it's now one of the most expensive products on the market. So that's kind of a bitter pill to swallow when the service is not great, and then the rates are going up, much more expensive than PowerSchool, OnCourse, and Genesis. And so it's kind of a perfect storm to talk about, like, listen, maybe this is time to explore leaving. And so we've talked as an administrative team, had a couple of meetings. Definitely the people more involved in scheduling and registration and and IEPs and all these different tools about, like, listen, what does it look like if we leave real time? And what does it look like if we go to Genesis? And after a lot of conversations, it just sounded like, listen, it sounds like the best way to go. Most everyone seemed dissatisfied with real time. I've spoke to a handful of teachers and case managers, and I definitely get the pros of real time. Having an all-in-one product is pretty attractive, and it's great when it works. But when it doesn't work, it's pretty crippling. So I've talked to a number of people that, if you've been here long enough in Pequannock, you remember Genesis. And if you came from another school district, since Genesis has like 2/3 of the state, you probably worked with Genesis. So it seems kind of like the natural progression to go to a tool that is focused on New Jersey, focused on education. They've got a lot of really great solutions that some of which real time just doesn't even have. So that's kind of how we got here. So the Board of Education last night approved the change. We're going to start implementing it. What does that mean for you as a teacher or a nurse or case manager? There's a few pieces of this puzzle. First of all, this won't be a full rollout. We'll be 100% live going into next school year is the plan. So by July, August, we'll be live and we'll start trainings, and the first in service days will involve some training, which I know is not fun, but that is part of the process. This definitely affects all stakeholders, so we're going to have a plan on how do we roll this out to parents, how do we roll this out to students, how do we get nurses in there to see medical information. So it is kind of a huge undertaking, but I think once we get on the other side of all the training, everyone will find the tools very accessible, very easy to use, much more powerful, much more customizable. So I have a lot of faith in that, but until then, it's a lot of work. Why am I telling everyone, if we're not going to roll this out till July, August, why am I telling everyone 9 months in advance? I don't like to surprise anyone. I want to be as transparent as possible. And so does the administration and the Board of Education. So here we're sharing now that just so everyone can mentally be prepared, come next school year, there'll be a switch, and we'll offer plenty of training as upfront as we can, so people, when they're ready, can jump in and begin. But you don't need to think about it right now, but I just wanted to toss it out there. We're talking about maybe in the spring, and I've had some conversations with Anne-Marie Finnan on, how do we introduce this to the staff? When is a good time to do a demo? When's a good time to do training? And we kicked around in the spring doing like a demo so you can see some of the products. What does the gradebook look like? They've added, since we've used it in Pequannock, they've added a new Google Classroom integration. So you can sync your classes with Genesis and your Genesis gradebook. You can sync assignments backwards and forwards. So if I create an assignment in Genesis, I can push it to Google Classroom. And if I grade it in Google Classroom, I can push that grade back into my Genesis gradebook. So they've really made some advances even since the last time that Pequannock saw Genesis. So I just want to let everyone know that this change is coming. Hopefully you feel good about it. If you want to ask me, stop me in the hallways. If you want to drop me an email, I'm glad to kind of talk about some of that decision-making process, what the implementation looks like. No one needs to worry about it. Well, the people that need to worry about it sooner than later are going to be people involved in scheduling, because we'll start creating the schedule for next year within Genesis. So those people are kind of first up. And as we keep implementing, more and more people will be pulled in. But that's where we are. So if for the other pieces of real time, we didn't want to melt people's minds. So if you're like, well, what about IEPs? What about evaluation? What about lesson plans? We didn't want to, change everything all at once. Even though we think there might be some better products out there for IEPs and 504s, for evaluations and SGOs, we thought undertaking the change in the student information system is big enough. So for 26-27 school year, making the change in the SIS, and then talking about those changes for 27-28, so we can leave IEPs in real time for now. We can leave evaluations in real time for now. We can leave SGOs in real time for now. And then if we want to make a change for 27-28, we can talk about, well, what's that better product that might be better than real-time's IEPs? Is it frontline? Do we like real-time for IEPs? Do we want to stay there? So we'll have those conversations about some of the other modules later. And so right now we're really looking at that change in student information system. I hope that helps. I hope that alleviates some fears, or maybe it starts some. But again, we have a lot of time, so I just wanted to be upfront, let everyone know the change is coming. And there we have it. So I'll talk to you soon. And again, if you have some individual questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks, everybody.